The Expanse has been taking us on a sci-fi journey that is a little bit too close to home, and the ending of Season 6 has fans shook. Today, we're going to take a close look into that ending and examine the post-credits scene and make sure you get all the details you need. So, what's the deal with the last episode? The Season 6 finale was set up perfectly, and we all knew that the last episode was going to be a big one. And boy, did the Expanse deliver. Fans got comfortable and snacks ready for the big event, and everyone was left reeling once it was all over. It was obvious a mile away that the last episode would feature a huge fight. Tension all season long had been building between Marco Inaros and everyone else. That's the fleets of Earth and Mars, plus drummers and belters all put together. Okay, so we've got a huge fight on our hands between one guy versus what looks like a pretty unstoppable force. Why is he going into a battle like this? Marco is fighting for the ring. At the end of the previous season, Marco manages to get control over the ring gate, which gives him a distinct upper hand. His opponents realize that this gives him an edge, and they want to take the ring gate back under their control so they can close the gap and destroy Marco. Ultimately, the Rockinate end up seizing control of the ring gate for the inners, and Marco's eventual downfall soon followed shortly behind. But how on earth, metaphorically of course, did the combined factions overcome Marco and his half a dozen railguns? If you missed it, it's totally understandable. Everything happened so fast, and there was so much going on during the finale. We know from previous episodes that one railgun can deal crazy amounts of damage. They've been seen to wipe out entire fleets after all. So if Marco Inaros has 6 of these deadly weapons, then the rest of the combined forces are in real trouble. However, the Rockinate had a plan that was about to be put into action. They didn't just want to get control of the ring gate. The Rockinate wanted to get control of as many of Marco's railguns as they could. They got a hold of an enormous ice hauler from GM Batista and utilized the massive cargo space to hatch a pretty ingenious plan. They pooled resources together to get a hold of around 2,000 pods. This is where the cleverness of the plan really comes into effect. Railguns can only detect approaching targets and threats. They would be able to sense that hundreds and hundreds of pods were swarming them, but they would not be able to tell which ones were manned and which ones were empty. All of them would be treated as threats and targeted. The strike team only had some of the pods manned with soldiers. The rest of them were empty to serve as a distraction. The plan worked perfectly. The vast majority of the strike team were able to land at the ring gate without a problem, while the manned pods were able to attack the railguns and enemy communication network whilst under cover of the enemy pods. Unfortunately, the battle for the control of the powerful railguns is incredibly difficult, and it proves easier for the Rockinate to destroy the guns instead of seizing control of them. The super powerful weapons might be gone, but the battle is not lost yet. How did Marco meet his end? It was all Naomi's idea. Despite their best efforts, it is obvious that the team members who landed at the ring gate can't stop Marco from going through it. It's going to happen, and there's nothing they can do about it. Naomi realizes that they can use this in their favor. She's learned that the entities who use the ring gate and seem to have mysterious connections to lots of ancient space artifacts are alerted or activated whenever a large amount of energy crosses through the ring gate. Obviously, one single person making a crossing is not going to alert them. However, Naomi knows through her dedicated research that multiple times ships have been lost while traveling through the ring gate. She has theorized that this has to do with the mysterious entities, and that the energy of large ships or vessels crossing through the ring gate is enough to set them off. She and the team decided to use this to their advantage, and they launch as much as they possibly can through the ring gates at exactly the same time as Marco himself crosses. They hope that by all of this energy traveling through the ring gate at once, the entities will be awoken, and their wish is granted, as the entities are disturbed and Marco is never seen alive again. Speaking of entities, what was Admiral Duarte talking about? He got very cryptic at the end there. Throughout pretty much all of the show, Admiral Duarte has been in full support of Marco. Marco himself, and to be honest, all of the audience, expected Admiral Duarte to have Marco's back during the fight. I mean, to be honest, even with all those railguns, he kinda needed it. However, when it mattered most, Marco was left shocked when the Admiral turned his back on him. Fans couldn't believe it when the Admiral, instead of sending forces to help Marco, instead sent him a message of betrayal. It turns out that Admiral Duarte had little to no interest whatsoever in the conflict in front of him, but was merely using Marco and the war itself to further his own goals. And in this instance, his goals were to provide a distraction for what he really wanted. He revealed his true motives by saying, "You were a useful distraction, but I have gods to kill." Marco was stunned, and so were we. But even more than shock at the sudden twist, we're left with more questions. Why is Duarte fixated on killing gods? And who are the gods he's referring to? We might be able to provide an answer to the second question. Fans think that by gods, Duarte is referring to the ancient beings known as entities. They're old and have had influence wielding their destructive powers since well before humans started exploring the reaches of space. Obviously, the Admiral has more business to attend to with the entities, and it seems as though they were his long-term target after all. So what happens to the humans that survive after the fight? Does the Alliance stay together? After everything that happened with Marco, the surviving human colonies realized that banding together is very important. This isn't just in terms of sheer numbers, but in terms of morale and actually having a community. Several of the leaders recommend having representatives to form a cohesive government to give some structure, but not everybody is on board with this. Members from the Belt don't feel as though only having one representative is very fair, and the louder voices among them protest. Drummer, in particular, is very outspoken here, and he tells political opponents that he feels as though they are only being given a seat at the table as a show, and not to actually hold any political sway. Seeing as how corrupt politics and manipulation of the masses is how Marco got so much power in the first place, this subject is taken extremely seriously by those involved. The people on the side of good are keen to end the oppression of the people of the Belt, and want to put a stop to fear-mongering as a political tactic. In the end, it is Drummer that ends up being voted as president due to a rather controversial resignation from Holden. Now we need to get into the credits scene. If you've been a fan of the show for a long time, you'll notice that the credits usually roll with the ring in the background, almost like a frame around the names. This ring is so present in the season finale of Season 6, however, something's a little different this time. Did you see what it is? Fans watching closely could see that this time there's a red haze floating in the center of the ring as the credits roll. Not only does it look eerie and ominous, but from what we've seen in this series so far, they signal the arrival of the mysterious and powerful entities. Walls bringing forth the power of the entities did help them defeat Marco. The remaining bands of humans want to avoid as much contact with them as possible, because they are incredibly dangerous. The way that the red light is flickering at the end makes you think that perhaps the warnings were correct. And using the entities and their power to defeat Marco has now summoned them in a way that we can't get rid of. Not only that, but some fans think they can see something else. Right in the middle of the ring, some fans online have said that they think they can see Admiral Duarte's warship station. It's not exactly right there, but more of a faint outline you can see in the distance. Whether or not this is definitely what fans can see remains unknown, but the last imagery that we see on the Expanse is definitely threatening. Darkness is looming in the future of the Expanse, but we can only hope that the new human collaboration is going to be able to be a match for it. Thanks for watching today, guys. Remember to leave a like down below, and we'll see you next time.